the storm pond that's there now to address some stormwater issues for the Carriage Homes subdivision. And there's extra property there. We knew there would be. Some of it fronts onto Partridge Avenue, and some of it's on the north side and the south side of the pond. And so we're looking at options of some residential development on that property. We have been working with United Way, received $300,000 appropriations for some affordable single-family homes. These would be starter homes, and so we are working with them on seeing if this is a logical spot for this. We have some of our own affordable housing aid that we received from the state that needs to be used for some affordable housing, as well as the county has those funds as well. And so the county had a process of taking applications for projects that would like to utilize those funds. We made an application to the county for $200,000, and they did approve that. So with the United Way funds, the county funds, and then our own funds, we have about $700,000, which has been our high-level estimate of what it would cost to put a cul-de-sac in there with 6 lots, and then 4 additional ones fronting on Partridge Avenue. So we've got a high-level concept, and so the next step would be to have designs for that street done. Unless there's any objection from the council, I think that would be the next step here. Those designs then could be used to get more accurate cost estimates of what that project would be. So should this move forward, there would be many steps in the process. There would be public hearings, there would be zoning approvals needed, planning of the property, neighbors would get notified. So we're really early in the process. At best this would be a 2027 project, but the next step would be to get some engineered designs of that street so we can get more accurate numbers on the cost of doing that. So if there's any questions, I can take those.
Any questions? What was the number of lots? 10 total?
10 total, yep.
But 6 in the cul-de-sac?
6 in the cul-de-sac, yep. And again, so there would be just a cul-de-sac. There'd have to be a little expansion of the stormwater pond. These are intended to be starter homes, and putting in that cul-de-sac estimate is about $700,000.
That seems like an awful lot for an affordable home.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, this is, I mean, development is very expensive, and to do a starter single-family house under normal circumstances is going to be in the $350,000 to $400,000 range. And so this is a way to try to get starter homes more in the $250,000 to $300,000 range. They would still be, have to be purchased by someone that can afford it. It would be under the normal banking situation, but they'd have to do anything conventional situation would be, but it's just trying to get the price of those down so we can get some more affordable single-family houses.
Is it a necessity in affordable housing that they all be together like
No,
that?
no.
When we have what you call orphan lots all around
Yep.
town, can you put these kind of houses there and save
Yep.
$50,000 a lot?
Yep, that would be an option. The United Way funds were for 10 lots, so there would have to be 10 lots to do that. So that does make it more difficult.
The ones on the street would make sense, because
Yep.
they're ready to go.
Yep. Yep.
We'll have to discuss that further.
Well, there's also an environmental process you have to go for each site under the funds that were allocated for to the United Way. So when you have one site, you go through that process. It covers all of them. We'd have to do it on each individual lot if there's more than ones to do that.
Even if it's a lot already platted, ready to go, ready for sale?
Yep. So that's the difficult part, is you're dealing with all the restrictions of all the entities that are involved here. And each entity brings something to the table, but they all have their own restrictions. So it's like threading a needle to see if you can make it all work, given all the parameters that are in place. So we're investigating that right now to see if this is a possibility.
Dan Boki.
Are any of these 10 lots gonna be available to a local contractor to come in and build if you'd like?
Yes, that's the intention. Yep.
Okay. But there's no preferred builder right now, or how it's gonna be divvied up between United Way or anything like that?
No, there'll be,
Who's gonna be in charge of selling the lots?
the United Way would be, and they'd be seeking local contractors to do homes on these lots.
In your opinion, and I'm just asking your opinion, would a local builder see it enough of a profit potential there to build a $250,000 to $300,000 home, as opposed to, I've got, you know, 500, or local people that would do that, in your opinion?
That's what we'll have to gauge. We've had some conversations with our local contractors. Many of them are interested in finding a housing model, a lower cost starting point model that people like and would buy, because, you know, they don't necessarily want to do a whole subdivision on that. They'd be willing to do a lot or two and do that, so this will provide that opportunity to do that. You know, that's part of this investigation piece, is to find out, you know, what sort of interest there is to make, see if this is possible or not.
And Dean, our share of this partnership is the 10 lots, plus the infrastructure, which you said is gonna be 700 to 750. So the city will have close to $1 million,
No,
depending on what the value of the lots are.
We'll have about 200,000 in this.
County's got money and United Way has money.
Okay, so they're gonna reimburse us for the
For the cost.
infrastructure?
Yep, for the infrastructure.
Done.
So Troy, just for clarification, so the 700,000 between the three partners, that's for infrastructure, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so if someone comes in and they want to put a house up, do they have to buy a lot and build a house? Or are they just building the house on the lot?
It would be, they are buying a house that would be built on one of those lots.
Okay, so would the lots be at no cost to them, and it would
Well,
only,
that'll be incorporated into the cost
Okay.
of the house.
so it's the whole thing? So
Yes.
it's not like we're giving them free land?
Trying to give them a package deal where they're buying a house, a more affordable option for a single family house.
So it's not like we're giving you land, you put the house on, it's a package deal, it's the land and the house.
Well, right, so United, the intention is, and again, this is all still being worked out, so all these details are not exactly figured out. This is part of, you know, getting the design work and understanding the costs so that this can all be worked out. And we'll have more of these sort of updates and information for you guys, but the way it's been talked about up to this point has been that working with contractors to put a house on there and get a final price for the house and lot to be sold for the buyer.
Okay, thank you.
Dave.
So these folks that are just starting out, how are they gonna do financing? Are they gonna qualify for a 0.5 interest rate less than normal, like a vet would come and want a VA loan.
Yep, so it's utilizing, and that's another piece of this, that's the piece, United Way is working on is, financing options, that would be available, to help, you know, first-time home buyers, purchasing a house.
Thank you.
Brent. So Troy, right now, the city owns the land on Partridge, so there's no cost for the land, but if we were to go out and do scattered sites in town, that would be an additional cost to the program?
Somebody would have to buy one. Yep.
But they'd already have utilities, street.
Yeah. In theory, our contribution is more than just that cost of the infrastructure, it's also that cost of the land that we're giving to the program. And we haven't figured that into that equation, have we?
We have, yes.
Nate?
While we've had the conversation about this lot values, which are minimal at this point, did you touch on how we're gonna manage if we've even established the program, so we are not subsidizing a home to be built and then someone immediately selling it and realizing the
Yes.
benefit?
So, part of the, concern that everybody has is that, you know, somebody buys an affordable house, and then tries to turn around and sell it for a profit. So the program would be written up, so that, you know, if they're purchasing it, there's a maximum amount of equity that could be realized if they had to sell or wanted to sell. Then any additional equity then would go back to United Way to be towards affordable housing. So again, this is all being developed, and we're a ways yet from being at that point of having it all, the final stamp approval, but we're giving you updates along the way here, telling you about the next step, make sure you're okay with taking the next step. You know, this is, we hear about we need more housing, and we hear we need more affordable housing, so this is a way 3 entities are trying to work together to get 10 lots. It's not gonna solve a ton, but it's 10 lots, owner occupied, single family, they pay taxes, you know, sort of situation, to see if we can get 10 more lots. And, you know, the easy thing to do is do nothing, and let it sit there, but we have land there that we're not using. It could be realized with, some housing, so we're checking into that option, and seeing if that works for everybody.
Any other questions? All right, we are a little bit behind. So our 6:30 was the update on proposed zoning ordinance amendment. And this does need to be done by 6:55, and with that, I go to Greg Kruschke.
I didn't know I was getting a qualifier. Jenna, can you please go to the quick share? All right. So in front of you this evening, as we continue our zoning and subdivision code update, we have kind of the next little bit of information. This one's a little different than the last, and it's significantly more ambiguous. But the basis of the zoning ordinance is essentially the zoning districts, which we reviewed that map and kind of looked at that a month or two ago. The next is kind of the use charts, which are included in your packet tonight. So we've tried to organize these. You can see it's a little bit different than it was before, but really trying to do similar to some of the surrounding communities that people have good feedback on, and trying to match that a little bit. So as you go across the top, you see all of the zoning districts listed, as well as the new civic public district that's been added, as well as the 2 new mixed use districts as well, that we're creating rules for as we go through this. And then at the end, you see the overlay districts of floodplain and shoreland as we continue to move forward. So within this are probably, I'm gonna say 10 pages in your packet that all look essentially like this, that go through all of our kind of uses, that all have a definition essentially that matches them and where they would be permitted within the city. Our goal tonight is certainly not to drive answers or any of that, but really to get this in front of you, allow you to ask any questions you have and continue to review this. It's, fairly ambiguous as we go, but it is an important backbone of what we're doing, moving through everything here. So I just put one page up here. I certainly got them all up there if we want to go through them, but really that was my intent, is to get information in front of you, so when it does come time to adopt this, that you have seen this before. So.
Brent?
Greg, can you explain to us the difference between the family childcare and the group family childcare? What the difference?
These are drafts and we're still going through it, and that is absolutely the same question I had.
Okay. And the P would be permanent use and the C would be conditional use?
P is permitted, C is conditional. Somewhere in here, you'll also see some I's, which are interim uses, which are being added into our code. We don't have that we don't have that now. Some of those are identified elsewhere in there. The stuff in yellow that's highlighted in yellow in there, the stuff that was brought over strictly from like the FEMA floodplain ordinance. And so it reads really funny when it just gets dropped straight into this chart. So we're working on that as well. But like I said, we wanted to get the general information. I mean, 99% of this table won't change as we go forward, but there are, just because it's 10 of these pages, but we continue to work through that.
Well, I'm happy to see this. I've been dealing with a constituent that's got a next door neighbor that has made their life a living hell. Their backyard is full of junk cars. Their driveway has got at least 6 cars. Hoods are up, oil all over the place. Vehicles parked on the street. And it's been a long process, and it's still not resolved. And, as we get closer to figuring out how this best serves the community, I encourage you to keep moving forward with this, because I think that most of the council members have gotten phone calls with neighbors that are thinking of themselves before the neighborhood, if you will. Anything else for Greg? Nate?
So what is our enforcement mechanism for non-conforming activities in zoning districts?
So code enforcement is one of our fun subjects. That is one of those things when we get a complaint, we go investigate, try and figure out what's going on, and then address it accordingly. As many of you are aware, we've kind of got a problem properties group that meets with the city that we talk about zoning issues, to code compliance issues, to nuisance issues, to generally into police department issues. And we've got a number of properties that we continue to look at and try and enforce things on. Unfortunately, if it was up to me, this would be really easy. Unfortunately, it's not all up to me, and as we get through the system, sometimes we get tripped up a little bit and can't necessarily finish things the way we would like to. And so we have been, from the city side of things, really trying to push that, we don't care if somebody gets a fine or something. We want compliance on the property because it's still affecting the neighborhood. And so how can we continue to drive these things and, let's say, sharpen our teeth a little bit when it comes to enforcement, so there is a little bit of a bigger bite, so we can actually cure the issue in the neighborhood.
Doug?
Greg, I think when this comes up, it's always a negative. There could be some positives here. If somebody's got a great business going in their garage, maybe we get them into the incubator. Maybe we have Sean Williams give them a call and see how he can help them. And if the story is correct, Harry Winger made his first baton in his garage over there on McKinley Street. Is that accurate, Chad? Okay. Anyhow, a lot of places start that way, but some we probably could help too.
Yeah, and that's, certainly a portion of our home occupation side. This is really our general uses. I mean, this goes into our you know, where is a bakery allowed down, you know, where is a bakery allowed, where is a manufacturing facility allowed? You know, we've got on here, I've got industrial uses up there, so a bottling establishment, a laboratory, a machine shop, you know, where are these things allowed in our city? And so having these tables very usable and readable allows for business owners, developers, lenders, anybody involved in that side of things to go see where they can go, and then obviously this pairs with the zoning map, and they're able to do a lot of research on their own. You know, we'll certainly help people through any of it, but a lot of them are doing this research on their own before they ever contact us to see where they can potentially locate.
Yeah, the whole intention of this is to get the right uses in the right spots, so it's not problematic to the neighbors. And so we definitely want to see businesses grow, and we want to put them in a spot where they can do that without causing any issues with the neighbors. We want residents to live in a neighborhood and not have to deal with, you know, any issues that way too. So that's how this is. The reasoning for all of this is to get those in the right places, so both residential and commercial can thrive where they're at.
Don?
Greg, just a question for you. How long have you been working on this particular thing? And I'm assuming the planning commission's been involved in this as well?
We've been working on this for, I believe, July 1 is when our contract started of 25. So we're about almost a year in that we've been working through this. And so this all ties back. If you remember, we had joint meetings at the planning commission way back when. We've actually, we are gonna have another joint meeting with the planning commission on July 7th during the council's work session that night, I believe starting at 5 o'clock. So really trying to work through this as we come through with the final draft. And so that night on the 7th, we'll have, I don't wanna say it's a final draft, but it'll be a final rough draft. Or a rough final draft, I guess, as we continue to move forward. So really trying to get adoption. We want, you know, from the city side of things, I know some of us would like this to be in place yesterday. You know, between Sean and I, it'd make, you know, a lot of things a little bit easier as we continue to go through. But from the theoretical side of things, we'd like to be, you know, first of the year, we'd like to be effective, you know, really at the latest point. And we'd like to give a grace period until that ordinance actually goes into effect too. If people got projects in the pipeline they're trying to get through real quick. You know.
And Greg, these aren't just something we arbitrarily come up with. I mean, these are out there and are required to do something as we move forward.
Yeah, no, I mean, these use tables, I mean, between Troy, Emma, and I have each went through these line by line individually, you know, and continue to do that. You know, I've been through probably 4 times and just making sure that it fits, you know, what works in our community, what we think we need, and then, okay, oh, this one doesn't have a definition, we need to define this. We go back, we draft the definition, you know, and keep working with our consultant as we continue to go through this document and make it easier and let it flow and hopefully, you know, make things a little bit more understandable and, you know, go. And so, you know, like the last few times we've had, you know, very concrete answers that are very easy. This isn't as easy as the concrete answers of what, you know, what we should do with a 2-stall garage requirement or, you know, a front step setback, some of that kind of stuff. So it's a little bit more, you know, holistic in how we look at things. But, you know, like you can see, you know, we've got a textile care facility or animal processing, you know, we allow for that out in the I-2 district. We don't want that next to a single family neighborhood. You know, that's just gonna lead to a lot of problems. And so that's really what we're trying to set up in this.
Thank you.
We're not deviating greatly from our current ordinance. I mean, we're tweaking some things. The whole occupation thing got brought up. We're actually we're keeping most everything intact the way we had it before. And we get lots of complaints on home occupations now, but we're actually loosening up in the new ordinance a way that they can go through a conditional use permit, they get permission to do something a little bit, you know, bigger than what's maybe allowed by ordinance. So in some ways we're loosening it up to standards to give people a few more rights to do things on their property. Others, we're just getting some clarification on things. So, you know, there's parts of the ordinance that aren't perfectly clear. There's some gray spots, so we're cleaning up some of that stuff. Things that we've run into problems over the years, we're trying to get straightened out a little bit, so we don't run into those sort of issues.
Dan?
Greg, you had mentioned that July 1st of 2025 was when you started a contract with a consultant. How much time would it take if we tried to do all of this in-house?
Oh, in-house?
Yeah, would that be possible?
No,
Thank you.
no, not without bringing on probably a minimum of 2 additional staff, if not 3 or 4. It's, even just the review side of it, frankly, is overwhelming.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Nate?
I guess I would just make a comment. I guess my only concern is that we remain flexible for unique scenarios where people could get a conditional use permit. Because as many of us know, especially those of us that have our own business, that they oftentimes start in the home, which they may be non-conforming at that time. And so
Yeah.
I want to make sure we have the ability to accommodate those situations in a way that makes sense for.
And I would say now,
Right.
our code right now, we do not have a way to do that, without probably rezoning you to some sort of a PUD. In the future, when our new code comes in, that'll be an additional use permit to come through.
Well, in the wave of everything happening now, everyone's got a side hustle, right? Everybody's got a way to make money doing something else, and so we want that to happen. We want them to, start at home. We want them to, move into a space, maybe our retail incubator, or manufacturing something. They can work with our business development center. I mean, we want to grow businesses the way they've grown in Owatonna for many, many years, and that's someone starting in their basement. But we also have neighbors that we want to protect too. So it's a balancing act here, and if anything, we're probably making the ordinance a little bit more favorable to the businesses than we have before.
Any other questions? All right, we do have some time. I'm gonna put Greg on the spot. Could you give the council an update on the rock renovation downtown, please?
Yeah, so starting last Tuesday, we had mentioned that they're gonna start removing the limestone downtown. All of the limestone has been removed. All of the holding pins have been sawed off, and as of this morning, they were laying the new granite down in the beds. I think they're almost to the alley, they probably made it close to the alley tonight, on the south side of the 100 block, which is where they started yesterday. So, we continue to move forward. It is heavy material, it's hard to move, it's hard to get set in there, it's gonna take some time to get through all this, so we understand it's going to be painful. We'll continue to be around and talking to people and business owners, but certainly appreciate any help with the parking. If you see crews around there working, please give them space to work. We're trying to get in and out of there as fast as possible, but ducking around cars all day long is next to impossible. We really don't want to close the street off, but if we have to, we will.
And will they be doing this construction on Thursday this week?
So the contractor will work through Wednesday evening. They'll be out of here Thursday and Friday, and then we'll start again Monday.
Okay, any questions on that from council? All right, thank you. We have about 6 minutes. Any updates on various boards and commissions?
Joint Powers meets tomorrow.
Okay. We had a CGMC Board of Directors meeting last week. Kind of went over the awards for the at the conference that's going to be in New Ulm. Discussed what did and more of what didn't happen at the state level this year. And probably not much optimism looking at next year as well. So it was an interesting meeting, to say the least. Dan?
Don and I attended our Park and Rec meeting, and one of the topics of discussion was mosquito spraying. We learned there that Northfield sprays 3 times a summer. Faribault has not sprayed for 30 years. Waseca does it about once a week. I think, as next council meeting, they're gonna come and look for a direction from us, about spraying and negative environmental impacts. If you have a feeling one way or another, reach out to one of us and let us know about what you're thinking. It was a rather interesting presentation by Leanne Alt in favor of suspending the mosquito spraying. So if you have a thought one way or another, reach out to somebody and let us know.
Actually, Dan, I'll make a correction. It's Northfield that has not had spraying for 30 years.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's when I fell asleep.
Any other updates?
Just a comment, on the Rose Street project where the retail incubator actually went through there on Saturday. It was kind of interesting when they had one room full of, things, knickknacks, I would say, almost like the farmer's market retail. It was interesting, and the individual that was kind of running it at that point just explained some of the things that they're gonna do, and opportunities, that they have available, and kind of trading spaces downstairs that can exchange things, so I think it'll be a very interesting deal. I heard that the high school kids are still working on the exterior things, and it'll be, what, maybe July?
No, those actually won't be ready, the outdoor shops won't be ready till next spring.
Okay.
So they'll have to finish those up in the fall. Fall class will be finishing those up, and so they won't be ready till spring.
Okay. But again, it might be a nice space potentially for the farmers market people that are out there during the
Yep.
winter to do some things, so.
Nate? All right, we will adjourn until 7 o'clock. Thank you all.
Said that. No. What do you like to do? Well, let me just try it. Oh, yeah, I can get most anything online. Okay. That's all. When you go on. Oh, I should.